Hello, this is a summary of the paper Some Determinants of Chunk Size in Sequential Behavior, Individual Differences in the Transcription of Alphanumeric Strings by Peter Cheng and Nora Albehaijan. It has been known for over 100 years that chunking has a fundamental role in the nature of competence. So in my lab, we've been developing measures of competence using simple transcription tasks to assess learners' chunk structures. We've had some success in measuring competence in this way across various domains. Despite this, we do have a concern that individual differences may negatively impact the reliability of the measures. So this paper asks, are individual differences a problem for chunk-based measures of competence? We have developed two approaches to chunk-based competence measurement using transcription tasks. In both approaches, participants write with a pen on a piece of paper that's on a graphics tablet. The two approaches differ in terms of how the participant views the to-be transcribed stimuli. In the discretionary view approach, they hold down a button to view the stimulus, and the stimulus is hidden whilst they're writing. One of the measures we use with this approach is the number of characters transcribed per view. The number of characters transcribed per view. In the constant display approach, the stimulus is visible all the time. In this approach, chunking is assessed using measures based on the distribution of the duration of pauses between written characters. The distribution of the duration of pauses between written characters. Good correlations with independent measures of competence have been obtained for both of these transcription approaches. The present experiment is investigating whether individual differences adversely impact the chunking measures. In transcription tasks, participants use the structure of chunks in long-term memory to support transcription. So, do individual differences adversely impact this process and thus hide the signal of chunk structures? In the present experiment, we give participants stimuli to transcribe that have a known structure. This is in order to see whether that structure is clearly reflected in the chunk measures. If the stimulus produces clear chunk measures, then individual differences are likely to be minor, and hence we can infer that chunk structures in memories are themselves not affected by individual differences. Here are the stimuli used in this experiment. They were alphanumeric strings with distinctive structure. S2, 3 and 4 had groups of 2, 3 or 4 characters, whereas S1 did not have a particular structure. So we expect that participants will transcribe S1 using groups of their own size, which presumably will be related to their working memory capacity. 52 participants transcribed alternative versions of these stimuli using both the discretionary view and the constant display approaches to transcription. We have an array of results for the two transcription tasks. Consider the discretionary view approach first. In figure 1a, for stimuli S2, S3 and S4, the modal chunk size distribution reflects the stimuli structure. The chunk size for stimuli S1 are much more variable. This overall pattern is also apparent at the level of individual participants as shown by plots like those in figure 1b. Turn to the constant display approach. In figure 2a, for S2 to S4, the patterns of pause durations are consistent with stimuli structure. When the response sequences are partitioned into groups of different size, distinct patterns of pauses are found, but only for those group sizes that are directly related to the stimuli group size. there's no such consistent pattern for S1. Figure 2b shows the results of a new method we've developed to assess likely individual chunk size from pause durations. These measures are also consistent with the stimulus group size for S2 to S4, but S1 is again more variable. Overall, the results show that chunking measures consistently reflect the structure of stimuli. This implies that individual differences may be small compared to the effects of induced chunk structure, which in turn implies that the reliability of our chunk-based measures of competence may not be substantially degraded by individual differences. We have also added a new measure to our repertoire of chunk-based measures with a method that obtains chunk sizes from pause durations. Thank you for your attention.